7 candidates for New York governor participated in tonight's gubernatorial debate at Hofstra University in Long Island. Attorney General and Democratic candidate Andrew Cuomo was the favorite heading into the debate. According to a New York Times poll released yesterday, Cuomo leads crazy Republican billionaire candidate Carl Palladino 59 to 24% among likely voters. Each candidate was given no more than 90, sometimes only 60 seconds to answer each question. Cuomo took his limited time to emphasize a message that sounded vaguely Tea Party.
The state government is just still spending too much money. Taxes are out of control. They're oppressing families. They are chasing businesses from this state, and the businesses leave, the jobs leave. We are number 1 in spending in Medicaid. We're number 1 in spending in education, and number 40 in terms of performance. In terms of government operations, we have over 1,000 state agencies right now. In terms of local governments, over 10,500. We're going to have to reduce the number of governments. We're going to have to reduce the number of state programs. We're going to have to cut Medicaid, and we're going to have to find savings in education because the taxes are too high.
Cuomo's Tea Party-backed opponent Carl Palladino attempted to regain momentum lost to campaign controversy. Voters have not responded favorably to Palladino forwarding emails depicting bestiality and telling a New York Post reporter, "I will take you out." Tonight, Palladino addressed those who call him Crazy Carl.
I'm going to tell you my plan. You tell me if it sounds crazy. I'm going to lower income taxes by 10%. I'm going to cut New York State spending by 20%. I'm going to demand 8-year term limits. I'm going to demand that every legislator disclose all of his outside income. And I'm going to appoint a special prosecutor who will ferret out crime in the state of New York.
Palladino's campaign advisor, Roger Stone, whose political career began in the Richard Nixon re-election campaign, has been engaged in a campaign ménage-a-trois. He's also advising the campaign of anti-prohibition candidate Kristen Davis, the ex-madam who supplied prostitutes to Eliot Spitzer and spent 4 months in Rikers Island. Here's Kristen's plan to reform Albany.
The career politicians in Albany are the biggest whores in this state. I might be the only person sitting on this stage with the right experience to deal with them. I'm also running to advocate a series of reforms geared towards restoring economic growth to our state. These include the legalization of marijuana, which would bring in $1.5 billion in new revenues, the legalization of casino gambling, which would bring in $2 billion in new revenues, and as a matter of equality, the legalization of gay marriage.
Joining me now live from Hofstra University, both Kristen Davis and Carl Palladino's campaign advisor, Roger Stone. Roger, first of all, how do you do it? How do you advise two candidates in the same campaign?
Well, it's very simple. One of these candidates is in the race to win. One is in the race to play. It's kind of like having 2 horses at Saratoga. Since neither one of them pay me, and since all my activities are voluntary, I'm allowed to help the candidates I'd like to help. I had an antecedent commitment to Kristen Davis, who's really the pure libertarian candidate in this race. She began planning this race 2 years ago. As you know, Lawrence, she's been to prison. She has did the crime. She did her time. We believe in redemption in this country. We believe once you've paid your debt to society, if you retain your voting rights, as she did, you're allowed to run. And she made some very good points. She's a protest candidate. She's trying to make a serious point. Carl Palladino is a major party nominee. I did assist him in beating the Republican state organization in the primary. He's a good man. He's not a career politician. I think that showed a little bit tonight. But, yes, I like both of them.
Now, why would you back a candidate who's in the race largely based on her history in a sexual scandal involving Eliot Spitzer?
I don't think that addresses why she's running. The point here is, I think,
well, it's the only reason. It's the only reason we know her name, and what I find peculiar about that is that you yourself, in 1996 and in some other situations, have been involved in what in politics is considered sexually scandalous. Nothing terribly scandalous if you were in show business, but advertising, for example, with your wife and for online company.
If you let me answer the question,
Go ahead.
If you let me answer the question, I am both a libertarian and a libertine. I make no bones about it. But I'm not running for governor. Kristen Davis is, and she's put forward what a number of New Yorkers think are good ideas. The legalization of marijuana is on the ballot in California. It may well pass. It's a $10 billion industry here in New York. She's the only candidate tonight who mentioned it. She would legalize it. She would tax it. The state is $17 billion short. Legalizing gay marriage is another thing on her platform. I happen to agree with that. I've written extensively about it on my blog, The Stone Zone. So this is a candidacy based on principle. Here's the point. Kristen Davis went to prison. She paid a price for her crime. Eliot Spitzer violated the law by going to a prostitute. He goes from making $179,000 as governor to $500,000 at CNN. It seems to me that he has profited from his crime, and that's not right.
Roger, how does it make it good for your candidate that the stage is crowded with crazy candidates up there, including one that you're backing? If you're really backing Palladino, you want him on the stage alone with Cuomo, and you helped put him on this crowded stage.
I don't think Andrew Cuomo would have accepted a debate, a two-person debate, first of all. I think that he did accept a 7-person debate, and that got the only debate. As you know, Lawrence, normally speaking, the guy 25 points ahead doesn't debate at all. I'm surprised that Andrew Cuomo did debate. And frankly, he sounded a lot like a Republican to me tonight. This is the neoconservative Andrew Cuomo. He was very good. He was very strong, but he sounded very Republican.
Roger, I think you can safely book vacation time for when the next New York governor is going to be sworn in this state.
Well, I
Roger
think you need to know one thing. It's
we got to wrap it there, Roger. Roger Stone.
Votes, you get a permanent ballot line.
We are wrapping it there. Roger Stone, Republican strategist with ties to both Carl Palladino's campaign and Kristen Davis's campaign. Thanks, Roger.